Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Tulsi Devi Jaya Tulsi Devi Jaya Tulsi Devi Jaya Tulsi Devi
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopji Janavalabha Girivaner Hadi Girivaner Hadi Gopi Janavalabha Girivaner Hadi Navalabha Girivaner Hadi Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nanda Brajagana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaner Hadi Janavalabha Girivaner Hadi Gopi Janavalabha Girivaner Hadi Janavalabha Girivaner Hadi Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nanda Brajagana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhagavatarya Satarya Satashimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Guru Vaishnavindra Ki Namacharya Swarari Das Thakur Ki Prem Sikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki ISKCON Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Navadvip Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jamuna Mayi Ki Ganga Mayi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakta Devi Ki Shishi Radha Golokananda Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda. So we're continuing our reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We're in Madhya Lila, chapter 19. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. And so we just now actually starting here. We're described that the Lord entered the heart of Rupa Goswami and empowered him to be able to do so. If we read all these books by Rupa Goswami, and we can see, especially some of these, when he gets into reveals some of the pastimes of Radharani and Krishna, we can see that these come from a pure source, that Krishna has blessed him to be able to reveal these things. Him and the other Goswamis are able to reveal this in order for us to get a complete picture of what it's like. So we're going to read 1:18. It says in his book Chaitanya Chandrodya, Kavi Kanapur, the son of Shivananda Singh, has elaborately described the meeting between Srila Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's a pretty nice book. It's a hardback book. It's about that size right there. Bhanu Swami translated that book. It's available. It's, of course, Kavi Kanapur is also one of those devotees that got blessed. Okay, so 119. In the course of time, the transcendental news of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan was almost lost. To enunciate explicitly those transcendental pastimes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami with the nectar of his mercy to carry out this work in Vrindavan. So, purport. This verse and the following two verses are from Act 9, 38, 29, 30 of the Chaitanya Chandrodya by Kavi Kanapur. So you can see there's a source book for Krishnadas Kaviraj. That was one of the, he had a lot of source material, from different individuals. And so here we get 120. From the very beginning, Srila Rupa Goswami was deeply attracted by the transcendental qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, he was permanently relieved from family life. Srila Rupa Goswami and his younger brother, Vallabha, were blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although the Lord was transcendentally situated in his transcendental eternal form at Prayag, he told Rupa Goswami about transcendental ecstatic love of Krishna. The Lord then embraced him very fondly and bestowed all his mercy upon him. Indeed, Srila Rupa Goswami, whose dear friend was Sarup Damodar, was the exact replica of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was very, very dear to the Lord, being the embodiment of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love. Rupa Goswami was naturally very beautiful. He very carefully followed the principles enunciated by the Lord, and he was a competent person to explain properly the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expanded his mercy to Srila Rupa Goswami just so he could render service by writing transcendental literatures. So Omagana Tamarandasya Gananjana Shilakaya. There's my Sri Gurave Namaha. So Rupa Goswami is considered the Abhideya Acharya. So you have Sambandhana, Abhideya, and Prayojana. So all Vedic literature are categorized in those three things. Sambandhana is what's the relationship, and understand the relationship. And Sanatana Goswami is the Acharya. His writings, and what he is primarily in that category. Rupa Goswami is the process, Abhideya. And Raghunath Das Goswami is a Prayojan, which is the goal. So his teachings are very, very intimate and esoteric, and so he's considered the goal Prayojan Acharya. 122. The characteristics of Srila Rupa Goswami have thus been described in various places by the poet Kavi Kanapur. An account has also been given of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his causeless mercy upon Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were the objects of love and honor for all the great stalwart devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If someone returned to his country after seeing Vrindavan, the associates of the Lord would ask him questions. They would ask those returning from Vrindavan, how are Rupa and Sanatan doing in Vrindavan? What are their activities in the renounced order? How do they manage to eat? These were the questions asked. The Lord's associates would also ask, how is it that Rupa and Sanatan are engaging in devotional service 24 hours daily? At that time, the person who had returned from Vrindavan would praise Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. The brothers actually have no fixed residence. They reside beneath trees, one night under one tree, the next night under another. Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswami beg a little food from the houses of Brahmins, giving up all kinds of material enjoyment. They take only some dry bread and fried chickpeas. They carry only water pots, and they wear torn quilts. They always chant the holy names of Krishna and discuss his pastimes in great jubilation. They also dance. They engage 24 hours daily in rendering service to the Lord. They usually sleep only an hour and a half, and some days, when they continuously chant the holy name of the Lord, they do not sleep at all. Sometimes they write transcendental literatures about devotional service, and sometimes they hear about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and spend their time thinking about the Lord. When the personal associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would hear of the activities of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they would say, what is wonderful for a person who has been granted the Lord's mercy? Purport. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami have no fixed residence. They stayed beneath a tree for only one day only and wrote huge volumes of transcendental literature. They not only wrote books, but chanted, danced, discussed Krishna, and remembered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Thus they executed devotional service. In Vrindavan, there are Prakrita Sahajas who say that writing books or even touching books is taboo. For them, devotional service means being relieved from these activities. Whenever they are asked to hear a recitation of Vedic literature, they refuse, saying, what business do we have reading or hearing transcendental literatures? They are meant for neophytes. They pose themselves as too elevated to exert energy for reading, writing, and hearing. However, Pure devotees under the guidance of Srila Rupa Goswami reject this Sahajya philosophy. It is certainly not good to write literature for money or reputation, but to write books and publish them for the enlightenment of the people of the general populace is real service to the Lord. That was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's opinion, and he specifically told his disciples to write books. He actually preferred to publish books rather than establish temples. Temple construction is meant for the general populace and neophyte devotees, but the business of advanced and empowered devotees is to write books, publish them, and distribute them widely. According to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, distributing literature is like playing on a great mridanga. Consequently, we always request members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to publish as many books as possible and distribute them widely throughout the world. Thus, by following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, one can become a Rupa Nuga devotee. And that's why Prabhupada said the most important part of the morning program is the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Of all the things in the, because that's what affects our faith more than anything else, is knowledge, gyan. So we learn, and that helps us in our faith. So that makes our faith go from being tender to firm. And then our faith goes from firm to deep. I mean, it has real meaning. So these books, and you can see what austerities they performed, what austerities Prabhupada performed to produce this literature. And of course, there's a lot of literature out there now. We have to be careful. You know, we got a lot of people writing books, and there's all kinds of how-to books. But if we only got so much time, we have to prioritize, of course, Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Prabhu Chaitanya Charitamrita is living Bhagavatam, so it's not different than Srimad Bhagavatam. It's actual Bhagavatam in motion. And that's, we're emulating it, we're given the sweet nectar. And that's why we dress the way we dress, because we want to be part of something. And this is in this Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. Okay, so we're going to go to 133. Srila Rupa Goswami has personally spoken about the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his auspicious introduction to his book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.2. Although I am the lowest of men and have no knowledge, the inspiration to write transcendental literatures about devotional service has been mercifully bestowed upon me. Therefore, I am offering my obeisances at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has given me the chance to write these books. For 10 days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at Prayag and instructed Rupa Goswami, empowering him with the necessary potency. Purport. This is a confirmation of the statement, Krishna Sakti Vina Nahe Tara Pravatana. Unless one is specifically empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he cannot spread the Krishna conscious movement. An empowered devotee sees and feels things to be the lowest. An empowered devotee sees and feels himself to be the lowest of men. For he knows that whatever he does is due to the inspiration given by the Lord in the heart. This is confirmed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Tesam satata yuktanam vachatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yedamam upiyanti te. Those who are constantly devoted and serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To be empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to qualify himself. This means that one must engage 24 hours daily in the loving devotional service of the Lord. The material position of a devotee doesn't matter because devotional service is not dependent on material considerations. In his early life, Srila Rupa Goswami was a government officer and a grihasta. He was not even a brahmachari or a sannyas. He associated with malechas and yavanas. But because he was always eager to serve, he was a qualified recipient for the Lord's mercy. A sincere devotee can therefore be empowered by the Lord regardless of his situation. In the preceding verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami has described how he was personally empowered by the Lord. He further states in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-187, Dahayasare dashe karmana manasa griha gira nihilas vapyavastau jivan mukta sayukyache. A person acting in the service of Krishna with his body, mind, and words is a liberated person, even in the material world. Although he may be engaged in so many so-called material activities. To keep oneself free from material contamination and attain the Lord's favor, one must be sincerely engaged to render service to the Lord. This is the only qualification necessary. As soon as one is favored by the mercy of the spiritual master and the Lord, one is immediately given all power necessary to write books and propagate the Krishna conscious movement without being hampered by material considerations. 136. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Rupa, please listen to me. It is not possible to describe devotional service completely. Therefore, I am just trying to give you a synopsis of the symptoms of devotional service." The ocean of transcendental metals of devotional service is so big, no one can estimate its length and breadth. However, just to help you taste it, I am describing but one drop. In this universe, there are limitless living entities, 8,400,000 species, and are all wandering within this universe. It's kind of interesting. He starts off with this information, and we've heard this, and he's emphasizing how many living entities there are, and how fortunate it is for a person to be engaged in devotional service and to read Srimad Bhagavatam, associate with the devotees, and to hear about the glorification of Krishna. This is just rarely attained. So he starts off how big, and he breaks it down. Okay, so let's read the purport. This is a challenge to so-called scientists and philosophers who presume that there are living entities on this planet only. So-called scientists are going to the moon, and they say that there is no life there. This does not tally with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's version. He says that everywhere within the universe, there are unlimited numbers of living entities and 8,400,000 different forms. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 24, we find that the living entities are sarvagat, which means that they can go anywhere. This indicates that there are living entities everywhere. They exist on land, in the water, in the air, in fire, and in ether. Thus, there are living entities in all types of material elements. Since the entire material universe is composed of 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, why should there be living entities on one planet and not on others? Such a foolish version can never be accepted by Vedic students. From the Vedic literature, we understand that there are living entities on each and every planet, regardless of whether the planet is composed of earth, water, fire, or air. These living entities may not have the same forms that are found on the planet Earth. But they have different forms composed of different elements. Even in this earth, we can see that the forms of land animals are different from the forms of aquatics, according to the circumstances. Living conditions differ, but undoubtedly there are living entities everywhere. Why should we deny the existence of living entities on this or that planet? Those who have claimed to have gone to the moon have not gone there, or else with their imperfect vision, they cannot actually perceive the particular type of living entities there. That's a pretty good point that Prabhupada makes right there. I mean, the more they look, the more the telescopes they manufacture, the bigger the space becomes. It's just the universe becomes bigger and bigger. And this is all Krishna's illusion. And because we have imperfect senses, it's impossible for us to see clearly things how they are. But this universe is so vast that Krishna, Mother Yasoda, he had pastimes where he was eating dirt. And Mother Yasoda wanted to look into his mouth. And Krishna, by his own potency, was able to take this vast universe, and when she looked into his mouth, she saw everything that these astrologers see through their telescopes in the sky. She saw it all in his mouth. So according to his potency, or Maya's illusionary energy, things are manifested to individuals according to their relationship with Krishna. Based on how we approach him, these things are revealed. So, as Prabhupada said here, those who claim to have gone to the moon have not gone there, or else their imperfect vision, with their imperfect vision, they cannot actually perceive the particular type of living entities there. So the thing here, main thing is, we have imperfect senses. We have a tendency to cheat. We have a tendency to make mistakes. These are defects that are natural in human beings. Okay, so any questions? We can keep on reading this. It's a big purport, so we just continue reading the second half. The living entities are described as ananta, or unlimited. Nonetheless, they are said to belong to 8,400,000 species, as stated in the Vishnu Purana. Jalaja Nava Lakshani, Stavara Lakshana, Visati, Premayo Ruda Sankaryaka, Prasannam Dasya Laksanam, Trisma Laksani Prasava, Chakshur Laksani Manusaha. There are 900 species living in the water. There are also 2 million non-moving living entities, stavara, such as trees and plants. There are also 1,100,000 species of insects and reptiles, and there are 100,000 species of birds. As far as quadrupeds are concerned, there are 3 million varieties, and there are 400,000 human species. It might not all be on this planet, but they're either in heavenly planets, upper planetary system, lower planetary systems. Those are species. Some of these species may exist on one planet and not on another. But in any case, within all the planets of the universe, and even in the sun, there are living entities. This is the verdict of the Vedic literature. And the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 20, confirms. Ajayate mriyate bhakat kadachan nayan bhutva bhutita vana bhuya ajo nitya sasvato yam purano nahanyate handyamane sarire. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. I mean, the more they look, the bigger the universe gets. And they, of course, scientists now see that this, they're like trillions of Milky Ways. We're in one Milky Way. Now there's trillions of these Milky Ways in this one universe. And now they're thinking, well, they're coming to understand that there's more than this one universe. Now it's a multi-universe. So we see that from Mahavishnu, that these universes are emanating from him. Because of their atheistic mentality, once they take God out of the picture, their senses become even more perfect, and they'll never understand it as it is without accepting that it's all emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's a huge part of trying to understanding, who we are and where we come from. Of course, the idea they think there's only life on this one planet is just like, how could there's no way they can make an absolute statement, because there's no way they've seen everything in the universe. They have limited vision. Okay, since the living entities are never annihilated, they simply transmigrate from one life form to another. Thus, there is an evolution of forms according to the degree of developed consciousness. One experiences different degrees of consciousness and different forms. A dog's consciousness is different from a man's. Even within a species, we can find that a father's consciousness is different from his son, and that a child's consciousness is different from a youth. Just as we find different forms, we find different states of consciousness. When we see different states of consciousness, we take it for granted that these bodies are different. In other words, different types of bodies depend on different states of consciousness. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 6. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavan ta jante kalevaram tam tam evati kunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. One's consciousness at the time of death determines one's type of body in the next life. This is the process of transmigration of the soul. A variety of bodies is already there. We change from one body to another in terms of our consciousness. I mean, that's like the basics of our understanding, in Bhagavad Gita. That's like Bhagavad Gita 101. It's just that you're not the body. It's a big realization, but everything that we learn is based off that principle. It starts from there. That we're spirit soul. Aham Brahmasi. Okay, text 140. If we divide the tip of a hair into 100 parts and then take one of these parts and divide it again into 100 parts, that very fine division is the size of but one of the numberless living entities. They are all chitkana, particles or spirit, not matter. Report. This is a quotation from the commentary on the portion of Srimad Bhagavatam wherein the Vedas personified offer their obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That would be chapter 90 of the 10th canto. Lord Krishna confirms this statement in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 7. Mamai viso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Lord Krishna personally identifies himself with the minute living entities. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Spirit, the Super Soul, and all the living entities are his very minute parts and parcels. Of course, we cannot divide the tip of a hair into such fine particles. But spiritually, such small particles can exist. Spiritual strength is so powerful that a mere atomic portion of the spirit can be the biggest brain in the material world. The same spiritual spark is within an ant and within the body of Brahma. According to his karma, material activities, the spiritual spark attains a certain type of body. Material activities are carried out in goodness, passion, and ignorance, or a combination of these. According to the mixture of the three modes of material nature, the living entity is awarded a particular type of body. This is the conclusion. 141. If we divide the tip of the hair into 100 parts and then take one part and divide it into another 100 parts, that 10,000 parts is the dimension of the living entity. This is the verdict of the chief Vedic mantras. Purport. The first three padas of this verse from the Panchadasi Chitradipa 81 are taken from Svetasvara Upanishad 5.9. Text 142. Lord Krishna says, among particles, I am the living entity. Purport. The living entity is one with and different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As spirit soul, the living entity is one in quality with the Supreme Lord. However, the Supreme Lord is bigger than the biggest, and the living entity is smallest of the small. This quotation is the third pada of the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 16, Text 11. Text 143. O Lord, although the living entities who have accepted material bodies are spiritual and unlimited in number, if they are all pervading, there would be no question of their being under your control. If they are accepted, however, as particles of the eternal existing spiritual entity, as part of you, who are the Supreme Spirit whole, we must conclude that they are always under your control. If the living entities are simply satisfied with being identical with you as spiritual particles, then they will be happy, being controllers of so many things. The conclusion that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are one and the same is a faulty conclusion. It is not a fact. Purport. This verse, which is also from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Text 80, Chapter 87, Text 30, was spoken by the personified deities. Translation. Text 144. The unlimited living entities can be divided into four divisions. Those that can move, those that cannot move. Among living entities that can move are birds, aquatics, and animals. Purport. I think we'll just be able to finish this, and that should be it. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving clear instructions on how the living entities live under the different conditions. There are trees, plants, stones that cannot move, but still, they must be considered living entities or spiritual sparks. The soul is present in these bodies like those of trees, plants, and stones. They are all living entities. Among moving living entities such as birds, aquatic, and animals, the same spiritual spark is there. As stated herein, there are living entities that can fly, swim, and walk. We must also conclude that there are living entities that can move within fire and ether. Living entities have different material bodies composed of earth, water, air, fire, and ether. The words Tara Madhya means within this universe. The entire material universe is composed of 5 material elements. It is not true that the living entities reside only within this planet and not within others. Such a conclusion is completely contrary to the Vedas, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Text 24. Acheta mam hajo adayo mam akdayo sosha evacha nicha sarvagata stanur akaloyam sanatam. The individual soul is unbreakable, insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. The soul has nothing to do with material elements. Any material elements can be cut into pieces, especially earth. As far as the living entity is concerned, however, he can be neither burned nor cut to pieces. He can therefore live within fire. We can conclude that there are also living entities within the sun. Why should living entities be denied this planet or that planet? according to the Vedas, the living entities can live anywhere and everywhere, on land, in water, in air, and in fire. Whatever the condition, the living entity is unchangeable. From the statements of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Bhagavad Gita, we are to conclude that the living entities exist everywhere throughout the universe. They are distributed as trees, plants, aquatics, birds, human beings, and so on. So we'll end right there. If anybody wants to make a comment? All right. Thank you very much. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Bhagو Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Andani Yasa Sakale Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham
Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sanyavadi Pashtacha Disatarini Namaste Saraswati Devi Jai Prabhupada Gauravani Pracharini Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol! Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Raya Nama, Krishna Yaravaya Namaha. Hare Raya Nama, Krishna Yaravaya Namaha. Yaravaya Maravaya Kesavaya Namaha. Yaravaya Maravaya Kesavaya Namaha. Yaravaya Maravaya Kesavaya Namaha. Yaravaya Maravaya Kesavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giri Hari Gopinath Madana Mohan, Giri Hari Gopinath Madana Mohan, Giri Hari Gopinath Madana Mohan, Giri Hari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita, Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita, Shri Advaita Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Hari Raya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Yadavaya Nama, Hari Raya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Nitya Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitya Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitya Gaur. Nitya Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitya Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe, Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radha. Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe, Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Bhagavacharya.
Yeah.
Anata Gauda Vaishnavindiki,
Yeah.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki,
Yeah.
Prem Sako, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudeva Gauda Bhagavati Ki,
Yeah.
Confounder Srila Prabhupada Ki,
Yeah.
Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath, Shamakun Radha Kun Virgonath Ki,
Yeah.
Vrindavan Dham Ki,
Yeah.
Mayapur Dham Ki,
Yeah.
Navadvip Dham Ki,
Yeah.
Jamuna-mani Ki,
Yeah.
Ganga-mani Ki,
Yeah.
Tulsi-devi Ki,
Yeah. Yeah.
Shri Shri Radha Golokananda Ki,
Yeah.
Samaveda-manta-vrinda Ki,
Yeah.
Gaura Premi.
Hari Bol.
All glory to the
Hari.
All glories to the assembly.
Hari.
All glories to the assembly.
Hari.
All glories to Sri Guru.
A reminder that there's Harinam Sankirtan tomorrow at noon at Weaver Street to about 1:30. Please come. It'll be a nice day. And there's also a kirtan today in the temple from 2 to 8. It's the monthly Saturday kirtan. So please come this afternoon between 2 and 8 for kirtan here in the temple. Chaitadarpana marjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Punamrita Swaranam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudan Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani amitasmaranena kala etadrishita vakripa bhagavan mamapi dordaiva midrishami